천자문,
千字文
千字文
In this lesson, we will look at characters 489 through 496 of the 1000 character classic, the 1500-year-old Chinese classic in which no characters are repeated. The government city, brims with generals and ministers.
불화장상,
府羅將相
府羅將相
The roads are lined by locust trees and high-ranking officials.
로협괴경,
路橋槐卿
路俠槐卿
Let's look at line number 123. I'll offer an English translation character by character. Government. Spread. General. Minister. Together they can be translated as the government city brims with generals and ministers. Let's hear it pronounced. You hear it from a recording in Korean, Japanese, and Chinese.
불화장상,
府羅將相
府羅將相
On to line 124. Road. Knight errant. Locust tree. Official. Together they can be translated as the roads are lined by locust trees and high-ranking officials. Now let's hear it pronounced.
로협괴경,
路橋槐卿
路俠槐卿
Let's look at a few radicals or components. First, have a look at the character for 489. That radical means house on cliff. It's a radical that is sometimes used for shelters or buildings. Now, the inside part is a character that means entrust, hand over, or attach, which makes sense, doesn't it? The government is a place that you hand things over to which you entrust things. Next, look at the radical for 490. I'm going to mention this radical later in the extended notes part of this lesson, but for now, just note that it is the net radical. Also note that the lower section of this character is a distinct character that appears elsewhere in the classic. On to character 492. I'm not going to break down this character, but I want to remind myself that it appears within 3 other characters of the classic, shown here. The 493rd character has the foot radical, and that's suitable since this character means road. The 495th character has the tree radical, and it's a kind of tree. The tree radical appears in all kinds of characters that aren't necessarily referring directly to trees, but the ones I show here are also kinds of trees that have this radical and appear in the classic. Based on the 8 characters of these 2 lines, I've come up with a word list. I've tried to select words that are common and relevant to Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. Now you hear the words spoken in each language. Government.
정부,
政府
政府
Include, contain.
망라,
網羅
網羅
General.
장군,
将軍
將軍
Mutual.
상호,
相互
相互
Road.
도로,
道路
道路
Route.
노선,
路線
路線
Knight errant.
협객,
侠客
侠客
Locust tree. Pagoda tree.
괴수,
怪獣
槐樹
High official.
경상,
狭小、
倾向、
Have a look one more time at the words of this lesson. See which ones you remember. Okay, let's move on. Now take one last look at each of the characters and offer a few additional notes for each character. I'll also give each character a rating. A rating of 5 suggests the character is common and essential. A rating of 1 suggests the character could be obsolete. This one, as I mentioned, is part of the word for government in all 3 languages. Besides that usage, it doesn't have that much shared usage between the 3 languages. Japan also uses the character to denote special prefectural governments, such as the ones in Osaka and Kyoto. But all of Japan's other prefectures use this character that I'm putting on the screen right now. This is part of the next 8 characters coming up in the classic. As I mentioned, the radical for this character means net, and this character appears in an important Chinese expression, which means heaven's net and earth's web. There's an ancient Chinese story from where the expression originates. As the expression describes an inescapable trap, it has appeared in analysis of modern China's extensive system of control and surveillance. This one means general. The well-known Japanese version of chess, shogi, uses this character in its name. A similar Korean game called changi uses this character. And a Chinese game doesn't use the character in the game name, but one of its key game pieces is also called the general, using this character. By the way, all of these games, along with chess itself, are said to have originated in the ancient Indian game of chaturanga. And one more thing, anybody who's into Japanese history and films would know the term shogun, and this is the first character of that word. So this is a very important character, and it's used in so many words in all 3 of these languages. It has multiple meanings, but in the context of the classic, it refers to a minister. And do note that the word prime minister uses this character. However, each of these countries have political systems that don't align exactly with Western counterparts, so you're more likely to see this word prime minister in reference to leaders of other countries that follow a parliamentary system. This one means road. I find its usage sometimes confusing with the character seen here. These two together make a word that is road, but individually they both refer to, roads. And anyway, I think this one, the 493rd character, literally refers to roads or paths and doesn't have the more abstract usages that this other character has. And by the way, this other character appears, also in the classic. And also the Chinese name for the historical Silk Road uses this character, while the Korean and Japanese names for that Silk Road, they don't tend to invoke this character, at least not now. This one means knight errant, a kind of hero. Wuxia is a popular genre of Chinese fiction concerning the adventures of martial artists in ancient China. And as you can see, it uses this character. This refers to a kind of tree. This particular kind of tree has been referred to as scholar's tree. There are examples of popular artwork showing scholars studying or resting in the shade of this tree. And in the context of the classic, this character refers to an official. During the Qin and Han dynasties, there was a system that designated special roles for 9 ministers, a well-documented system, and this character was used within the title of those 9 ministerial positions. That's a wrap for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll look at lines 125 and 126, which reference aspects of something akin to a feudal system in ancient China.
천자문,
千字文、
千字文、
As always, I remind you that I make these videos partly for my own study purposes. My skills are not advanced in these languages, so it's quite likely I've made some mistakes or forgotten something obvious. And if you do notice something or have a question, let me know in the comments. The goal of this channel is to make a video for each line of the 1000 character classic, while using this classic as a lens to explore language study methods and connections between the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages. I wish you happy and productive language studies.